going on, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Talking in Bits, where we walk you through Bitcoin bit by bit so we can provide you with the information you need to succeed and persist. Back with episode 24, The Great Mamba.
The Great Mamba.
The Great Mamba, number 24. We're here to give you guys all the fire and heat. I got Ben in the house as always. What's going on, man?
Speaking of The Great Mamba, I was just looking at, I was going to share it on Instagram, but it was basically Kobe Bryant saying he didn't appreciate Shaq until he started playing with Dwight. And then you slide to the next.
Okay, hit me with that. Oh, I see.
You slide to the next one, and he's basically calling him a soft ass, and he's like, you know, he's a big softie, like the biggest, softest dude you ever met. You know,
and he's really big.
Yeah, so dude's ginormous. But
but we're here, Mamba episode.
Yeah, man, 24,
and we got a lot to talk about.
A lot to talk about.
The savior, El Salvador.
Yeah,
let's get into it, man. Give the people the news. What happened in El Salvador today? Literally.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Today, it's passed and signed into law that they will accept Bitcoin as a legal tender.
I wish I had an air horn right now. I'm telling you that.
Yeah,
I wish I had some sound effects as we go hit those.
And I mean, what that means is that they're going to start using it as money. Jack Mallers with Strike started an El Salvador campaign. They became the number one place, you know, for the most downloads, the most app downloads, the most website hits, and basically people and street vendors and companies were adopting it as to use for commerce. Yeah. And it's working. Yeah. And you know, it's kind of a hedge against inflation, right? And that's one reason why they're after that. But also there's so much remittance that comes from the US to El Salvador, right? And where Western Union takes 10, 20%. Yeah,
it's always a struggle to be able to exchange freely.
Yeah. And so now we can send money across the world, send Bitcoin across the world, and you can receive your value instantly, and you can secure it so no one can take it from you. It's, you know, freedom money. Freedom goes up technology, you know? Yeah. So
big domino.
I didn't see that happening this fast.
I don't think anybody did. I think it's a huge domino, man. And damn, Jack.
Yeah, man.
Damn,
legend.
Jack. Yeah, legend. Listen, it started, you know, today it got passed, but Saturday, right, final day of the conference, Jack came out. I believe he was the last act. He said something that was going to change the world, right? Sure. One small step for Bitcoin, one big step for humanity, or vice versa, one of those things. And he came out, he killed it. Yeah. And he, you know, he was in tears and stuff like that. And he basically announced that he's been not just down there working just to show them what Strike can do, but how they can basically, you know, use this as legal tenure, like you said. And it's incredible. It's such a huge accomplishment for somebody of his age to do.
Yeah, man.
And I got to give him like huge admiration for that. And we'll talk about a different Jack later, but this Jack is a Bitcoin only guy.
Yeah, man.
And this Jack right here is leading the way. I mean, leading the charge. I'm gonna be honest with you. You could maybe give me your opinion on this. I kind of worried for him in the sense that, aren't you technically now colluding with foreign, and you're doing it publicly? Like, I kind of worried about that. I mean, obviously he's okay, and
I mean,
his team is smart enough to have thought about this.
Is he a U.S. resident?
I don't know. I'm assuming.
Maybe he now, you know, relocates.
Besides over there.
You know what I'm saying?
I didn't think about that.
And maybe the president gives him some security detail. Yeah. Because, bro, that stuff's bound to happen.
I think so, because this is like, I don't think the U.S. is going to take, I don't think they can, we're going to talk about game theory in a bit, but this is one of those situations where you can't just watch them do it and not do it. And I think this was huge. And if Jack Mallers is the face of this, like the guy who's publicly saying like, hey, my company did this. We went there. We helped with the legislation writing. We helped. That's kind of colluding. But I didn't think about what you just said, that maybe he just became like an El Salvadorian citizen and just said...
I guess it depends on where his allegiance is and then where he's, you know, on paper a resident of.
I'm going to think that his team is smart enough to have thought about this stuff. I don't think they're going to just do this kamikaze.
Yeah, you would think.
Yeah. So, but to me, I don't think it matters to Jack.
No.
Right? I'll take one. He's willing to take one for everybody. Like
the thing that comes to my mind are holistic doctors that all die.
What do you mean?
Right. There's a lot of holistic doctors over the last 5-10 years that have been killed in the weirdest, randomest ways.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? And so like they pose a threat to the establishment, right? Yeah. The same way Strike poses a threat to the financial industry and Bitcoin to the banking industry.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because he's just basically telling, you know, he gave the blueprint because he open sourced the way to do it, right? And he's given the blueprint for everybody to pretty much say, see you later, US dollar.
Yeah.
That has to be some type of, I hate to even use the term, but national security concern, I would like to think.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing more and more stuff that talks about, you know, what is life like without the US dollar being number one? Yeah. But one thing, too, with the El Salvador thing is that when people accept Bitcoin, they can immediately convert to USD.
Yeah.
So they can still transact their value how they want. It seems like El Salvador is still going to prioritize USD.
Yeah.
So I still think we're far from that. I think.
Are they going to privatize USD? Okay. Yeah. I heard something about it. It was mandatory for them to use at least Lightning or something like that. So.
Yeah. So I think over the Lightning network, they'll be USD enabled, so they can kind of switch that however they want. I'll have to read it back over, but
yeah, and that's possible with Strike. I mean, I use Strike all the time, and it works exactly that way. I just didn't know it was one of those things where I thought they were promoting the exclusive use of, and maybe I read that wrong. Gotcha. But either way, it's a huge domino.
Yeah.
Since then, it's been pretty much all South America, all Central America.
Yeah, that's what we're looking at. And it's like, what happens when an entire continent says this is legal tender?
It's I don't know what's going to happen, but it's once again, like I heard somebody say as soon as by the way, I saw a bunch of selfish people. People expose themselves during this news for sure. But the El Salvador thing, some people were just on like, oh, the U.S. is just going to wipe them off the map and all this stuff. And I chimed in only on one. And my thing is that if these people want this, they don't care. They're willing to take that fight on.
Absolutely.
And, so yes, technically the U.S. could do an embargo or kind of suffocate them or invade them or do anything like that. But like you said, what happens when it's a whole continent?
Mm-hmm.
Well, how is that going to look on you if you're just continuously chasing this unicorn that you can't stop?
I don't know. I mean, they're doing all this in public.
Yeah.
But I hope they're mining. They have to be mining Bitcoin.
The U.S.?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
They have to either be having that conversation on a serious note.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? El Salvador is talking about, hey, we're going to go to volcanoes and we're going to use this volcanic energy to mine Bitcoin.
You know how great it would be? Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Their citizens are going to transact in Bitcoin. Yeah. If they don't want Bitcoin, they're going to swap to USD. I think the government will buy it in a sense.
Yeah.
So the government's going to stack Bitcoin that way. They're probably going to dollar cost average. They're probably going to buy dips to have on their balance sheet as a country.
Yeah.
And then simultaneously, they're thinking about how can we mine Bitcoin in an energy-free way. So nations are doing this, man.
And we don't got volcanoes.
And we don't have volcanoes.
I mean, is it old Yosemite, like a sleeping volcano or something like that? Am I saying that right?
Technically Yosemite.
Yeah. And what if we can use that? But my thing is that game theory. All right, let's just move right on to. Shout out to El Salvador.
Yeah. Huge news.
Huge domino. Shout out to Jack Maulers.
Even so, I went to Providence recently, right?
Yep.
I went to the Chimney Trucks, and I didn't have cash. They took Cash App.
Yeah.
I could have paid them in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
They could have just had a barcode right there that you just scan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it only become contagious the easier they see it is. And I think when people see it, I think is when they're like, whoa, that happened that fast. Especially with what Jack Mullins is doing. But yeah, shout out to El Salvador. You're leading the way.
South America.
First domino of many dominoes. And I will say one thing before we move on to game theory. I would say, and this is sort of a game theory in itself, what I told you the other day, which was I'll be very careful with these politicians.
Sure.
Shout out to, I can't really pronounce his name, so I won't. But I think Alex Gladstein brought up a really good point. We shouldn't celebrate him. We should celebrate the innovation that what's happened with Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But people are people. And if he found this to be a way to make him politically popular, reelectable, pass certain things, we need to be careful for that. And I know a lot of people were praising him and saying, oh, laser eyes and this. But remember, laser eyes is not real life. He can laser eye all he wants on his profile. And he could do some dirty stuff in the background with this power that he just acquired.
Have you heard any of his YouTube videos?
I have not.
Or anything? I think he was on Fox at one point.
Yep.
He was talking about how Democrat politicians offer the world to non-American citizens.
Yep.
And they come here and then sometimes they don't get what they were promised.
Yeah.
And it takes, talent and people and resources out of El Salvador.
Yeah. For sure.
So he was talking about that. So I think when he sees Bitcoin, I think it empowers his people.
Yeah.
It banks 70% of his people who are unbanked.
Yeah.
It gives people their own energy. You know what I mean? I think that. And then I think simultaneously he sees, I think personally, he sees what the Bitcoin community is, who they are. He knows there's a lot of people here who might make their residence El Salvador.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if he's thinking, if you can bring a bunch of smart, affluent, wealthy people to El Salvador,
and he is.
You can.
Yeah, he is.
What could you create in 50 years?
Yeah,
with a Jack Maulers living there,
and
you know
10
what I mean?
years,
a Silicon Valley in El Salvador.
Yeah.
What does that do for your country?
That's very optimistic. I'm thinking. I'm trying to give him that too.
Simultaneously, we all know politicians are liars, right? And we see it every day, bro. Yeah. Every day. Yeah. So simultaneously, don't trust, verify.
Exactly.
1000% with you.
So I'm not. I don't know enough about him.
Yeah,
That's a better way to do it.
Off the speeches and tweets. Before the El Salvador news, I've liked what I've seen, and this just makes me like them more. And I'm bullish on El Salvador.
I noticed their whole whatever you want to call it, Congress, electoral, whatever, were all young people.
Yeah.
It only makes sense.
How coincidental. Get the dinosaurs out of government.
Get the dinosaurs out, man.
Innovation happens quickly.
See, the difference is with us, because you would think is, why don't we take advantage of all these American Bitcoiners that are doing incredible things? The U.S. government, I mean. Right. And I think it's that. I think you're just out of touch. So
Absolutely.
This is a threat to all you guys.
If most of sitting Congress is 55 plus, what innovation are they bringing?
Right, but the stupid on them, in my opinion, is you're doing this because supposedly you want to win. That's the easiest way to win. Like you can legit just flip a switch and be like, "Oh, we're good. We're on your side," and you'll be good. Like there's hostility that's going on, but you guys are just that egotistical.
People in government shouldn't die in their seats.
No,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's ridiculous,
and we see that happen frequently.
So game theory in that sense, we're getting kind of in that sense. So the U.S. government has to see pretty much all of South America light up. Yeah, no pun intended, laser-eyed, and basically signal, also no pun intended, that they want that Bitcoin, and they're talking to Jack. And what is the U.S. government thinking right
now? Covert operations. For sure, they're not already working on that.
Yeah, that's why I worry about Jack, man.
Mining Bitcoin. I mean, you look at COINTELPRO and stuff that's happened throughout the Black Panthers and everything else, and it's just like, they're everywhere. You know, I
expect the same thing. I don't think they're gonna go away lightly.
They have to be in the Bitcoin community on Twitter. They were at the Bitcoin conference. Yeah, but what can you do? Send a nuclear bomb to bomb South America? Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Send COVID-22 ahead of them.
So this is where the game theory comes in. So this is basically other nations basically saying that your turn. Yeah. If you don't do it, you're gonna lose. And I believe it's Loomis, right? Yeah. Wyoming, right? Yep. So I believe her account. I don't know if that's her that actually tweets, but I believe her account was basically pointing the obvious, which is the U.S. needs to play along fast because we're going to lose on the future game, on the innovation game. Is anybody listening? I don't know. Yeah. But the trust for the overall government here in the U.S. now is just at an all-time low. Mm-hmm. Like, even if, I'll be honest with me, if tomorrow you open your phone and it was like, hey, U.S. government says they're with Bitcoin, they're going to help you out, blah, 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 blah. Would you believe it?
Anytime the government says I'm here to help you, there's always a catch.
You want to pause it?
Yeah, no, let's roll, man.
Yeah, let's roll. We got to fly in the house, but it's all good. Yeah.
We rolling.
So I don't know. I wouldn't believe him one bit. And then, so that's what I'm saying. So what is it that we're expecting from the U.S. government then? If we're not willing to take, if they do adapt it, what is it that we're trying to do here? And I've thought about that for a little bit, and I haven't come to an answer. Like, we obviously see the death of the dollar. Yeah. But if they were to say, well, we're going to Bitcoin, you still would be like,
See, I used to think like that. And then I was listening to Michael Saylor, and he was like, I don't see the death of the U.S. dollar for a long time. All right. I think we had some time to go. Sure. I think there's some more money to print.
That won't happen tomorrow.
Yeah, it won't happen tomorrow. And I don't think it'll happen in 5 years. I think it'll take longer than that.
I think so too.
If I'm guessing, right? So I think the U.S. dollar rides out for a while. I think eventually we're going to switch to USDC. Yeah. Or some federal bank digital
I see that happening fast.
Yeah, that's ready to be rolled out. Okay. And then that's going to play out for a while. Yeah. With Bitcoin kind of competing in a sense.
So in your theory, is the USDC the same as the dollar?
It's just a digital version.
Okay, so that's happening next 2 years.
Yeah.
I see that happening really fast. But what I was thinking is they're going to replace the US dollar with whatever they're going to call their coin. If it's USDC or whatever. They're going to tell you to turn in your dollars. Yeah. And they're going to make it like an event thing, like a cool thing, right? Because it's a virtue signal. So it's like, hey, turn in your dollars, and we'll give you this really cool new blockchain tech. I hate the word blockchain.
So I was listening to Hamilton's biography, and I think it was the year 1780, or don't quote me, but basically something
Make sure
happened,
y'all quote him. Hit him in the comments.
Quote me, hit me on Twitter. But basically, people woke up, and what they had was worth 75% less. They had to trade in their currency. Yeah, man. And it's just like, imagine waking up to that. Imagine like the housing market goes crazy. Let's say for the next 10 years, the stock market goes crazy, right? Yeah. So does inflation. And then one day we wake up and it's, trade in your USD for USDC. Yeah. And get, XYZ.
I think that's soon, man.
That's likely going to happen.
I don't know if that equals the death of the dollar for some.
I don't think it does. It just.
But I definitely see the dollar dying in a usability fashion. Oh, yeah. Like nobody wants the paper.
And so what happens is the state, right? Yeah. Big Brother now gets to monitor every transaction. Oh, for sure. There's no physical dollars. You know what I mean? So our privacy is almost completely stripped in that sense.
Yeah. So game theory, right? Circling back. So in that world, the people choose. So why would you use it? Right. It would be valueless to them to do that to you. And I agree with you. I think surveillance in that fashion will happen. I've heard things that I don't know if I buy into, but I see can happen, which is like limitations, like expiration on your money.
We're talking about China stimuluses and China bonuses with expiration dates.
Right. I can see all that stuff happening and all that. But just to go back to game theory and what Bitcoin is so valuable for, because the free market always chooses, why would you use that as currency then?
You wouldn't.
You just wouldn't.
Yeah, you wouldn't.
So I think
you would just convert to it on the fly to make a transaction if needed.
I think they would be stupid to force it on people. I think they got to find the clever way to get it. And maybe they are stupid. They are dinosaurs. You know? And maybe we're even speaking beyond our levels here to be speaking of. But they have to make the dollar, whether it's digital or whether it's this one, attractive. Because if they don't, the people are naturally just going to gravitate to something else. And it's probably going to be Bitcoin because there's nothing easier to do. But
absolutely.
That game theory is very interesting. It's like we're watching, not only are we watching all this unfold in real time, but it's like watching a global chess game. Remember the game Risk? Remember that?
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, it was a global strategy game. You would have to kind of move around, and it kind of seems like that's happening.
Yeah.
And
here's my thing.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
About what? Specifically.
About Salvador, outside of Bitcoiners.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of hate.
People don't understand what's going on in the world, the financial climate of everything. They don't see it. They don't see the decentralization of social media, of finance. They don't have a finger on it. So I'll post about it and meh.
You got to be interested.
Yeah, man.
You got to be interested. And that's why the orange pill is very important.
Yeah, man.
Because you only really care about all this stuff when you go down the orange pill.
I agreed.
I mean, admittedly, so myself, I didn't care about 99%. Yeah, 99% of the things that I care about now, I didn't care about probably, say, a year ago. It was just one of those things. The orange pill is important. But game theory is going to be interested to watch. And a little, just to keep looping game theory, FBI FUD.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of game theory on their end.
I'm convinced that they don't prevent anything. That I'm convinced that they create scenarios that introduce a solution, which was the solution they wanted before they created a problem,
for sure,
quote unquote. Right?
AKA they playing games.
So the story is what? So let's even rewind. The World Economic Forum says that by 2030, oil and meat are going to be a thing of the past.
Yeah.
Okay, right? And then they're talking about cyber hacks are going to be for this year. And the first cyber hack we see is oil.
Yep.
And people down in South Carolina don't have gas. In North Carolina, right, going parabolic, posted a video. And at the end, it was like a spoof video. And at the end, he's like, this is effing ridiculous. I don't even have gas. I'm in line. And it's like that was a very real problem. And then B, a meat shortage. And they were both, quote unquote, cyber attacks.
Yeah.
Both, quote unquote, paid with Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And now this one, the FBI is saying they were able to retrieve funds because it was on an exchange.
They didn't say that. They said that they were able to retrieve it from a wallet.
And they won't specify.
So, no, they don't have to because this is... It's a public ledger.
Right.
The dinosaurs are out to play and they don't understand what's going on here. So for the listeners, if you didn't know, the FBI basically from the colonial, the oil breach or ransomware, they said that after they paid them in Bitcoin because the hackers were supposedly asking for this money back, and they wanted to get paid in Bitcoin. The FBI said that they were able to go back to the wallet that they paid out and basically break into it and take the Bitcoin back. Not all of it, the majority of it. Very strange. So. I don't care about price per se, but for the average person, price action took a hit because FUD. And people were worried because Bitcoin is broken. They were able to get into it. They were able to get into a wallet. Why do I buy this hardware wallet? Why do I have this? Why do I have that? This is all fake. If the FBI can do it, they can take like they can our dollars.
Right.
Everybody just panicked, lost their mind. And I love how that's why, maxis are maxis and Bitcoin is a bit like, I love how everybody just comes to turn off the fire. Like everybody, whoa, wait a minute. Here's the information. Here's the video. Here's this. Here's what you need. That, trust me, that's baloney. And talking a completely different topic, but about, being toxic and maxis are toxic and all that.
Yeah.
This is why though.
Right.
They're that immune system. They protect everything.
Yeah.
But anyways, guys, to kind of wrap that up, you can't break into a hardware wallet, a personal cold storage. If it's on an exchange, you and I have told the listeners plenty of times, not your keys, not your cheese.
Yep.
That's not surprising. It was shown that it was a Coinbase server in California.
So I read that.
Yep.
And then I read I read directly from one of Coinbase's security people that he said it wasn't in their custody. They had nothing to do with it, but there were some California servers involved, and I think people assumed Coinbase.
I said Coinbase, but yeah, I could see where somebody came out to clear it up. But the one I saw said Coinbase. Yeah. But either way, it wasn't offline on cold storage.
Yeah, it wasn't personal cold storage.
Right. So, and that's the difference between your cold storage, guys. It's offline from the grid completely. Your keys are what tell it to be activated online, right? Mm-hmm. So if it's on an exchange, expect this to happen. We've been preaching this. I've been preaching this since I've been learning about this stuff. It's a huge game changer to own your own Bitcoin. Don't risk it. Yeah. Like that can happen at any point in time. And I know you're not followed by the FBI, neither am I, whatever. But it's just the point that can happen. True. After this episode, we might be in some shit. But it's just common sense. So yeah, the thing about it is, and this is, anybody could come out and correct me on this, but from my understanding, SHA-256 is the algorithm that kind of gives us, the private, the public, and it goes, certain inputs go into the SHA-256 algorithm. It pumps out the next step, right? Mm-hmm. But the way the algorithm works, it's a one-way algorithm. So if you were to change anything, you're always going to get a different output.
Gotcha.
That's why it's so secure.
Gotcha.
And you can't work it backwards. Or let's just say it's nearly impossible to work back. Like I'm talking about I saw something about 23 Earths full of Google. Like some crazy, ridiculous amount of computing that's needed to even possibly even get the first digit.
Right.
But anyways, just to keep it simple, it's your private keys generate your XPub, which is your public key, and your public key is where your address is derived from. So 1, 2, 3 step. If they were to hack the wallet that they paid out, they would have to start at the very end of that. And they would have to work their way, which you can't do, to SHA-256 backwards into the XPub to find the XPub. Right. And then if they were able to do it that one time, they would have to use incredible computational power to go back one more time to get the private keys in order to recover the Bitcoin, like they said they did. Right. Because at the end of the day, Bitcoin is either true or false. And that means if the script says that these private keys have moved this Bitcoin, that's the only way you can move the Bitcoin back. Right. So if they were able to get theirs back, it wasn't because they pleaded or because they hacked it back. It's because they were able to provide the keys to that coin to send it to where they wanted to do, which I'm assuming is back to them.
Gotcha.
It's impossible. It's impossible. For cold storage, not exchanges. Yeah. Exchanges, even Cash App, even your favorite one, even Strike, all these things that are dependent on something else are absolutely being capable of just the Fed just going to them and saying, hey, I need the keys for that account. And their businesses, they have to be regulated. They have to follow certain protocols. They'll hand over your keys. Right. They'll hand over your account.
Bingo.
And that's a problem.
Bingo.
That's This is how. But the average person, and I got this from a gentleman that I talked to Bitcoin a lot at work. He's an older gentleman, and he even told me was they got in, and I'm like, I'm surprised you would believe that. I'm surprised, but I'm not because the FUD was pumping hard. That Bitcoin was broken. That they were able to hack your wallet and they could take it. I even saw a lady saying that she got a word from a spokesperson. I can't quote this source. Basically saying nah, we can crack it. We just didn't feel like it or something like that. It was a direct statement.
There was a tweet that was like, if you think the FBI would reveal that they could crack Bitcoin over a $2 million pot, you are foolish.
And why not take all of it back? Why did you take a majority of it?
A, you would take all of it back. B, you would find a trillionaire wallet and you would confiscate that.
Yeah. I saw somebody say if they knew how to crack Bitcoin, why didn't they just grab Satoshi's Bitcoin?
Exactly.
I don't know, man. Yeah. It's just a lot of fun. It's hard to be able to get through this as an average person. That's why you have to listen to these shows. That's why you have to kind of dig, do your proof of work. Proof of work is huge in life and everything. And this is no exception. You can't just orange pill and chill. Yeah. You got to orange pill and do some work. And when you orange pill and do some work, which is literally what orange pilling is going down this complete trip. You'll find out that this FUD isn't even logical. Yeah. Check out my Twitter, guys. I don't know how far back. I'll try to put it in the show notes if I remember. But I have a YouTube video that's explaining in a fun way, a graphical way, how powerful SHA-256 is. And it is I'm telling you, you're going to see planets worth of computing power, and it still can't crack the first digit.
It's crazy.
It's insane. It's super secure. You can't go backwards. I've heard somebody say that, with quantum computing, it can happen. This is the thing. The other side of that is that the people that invent the quantum computing have the opposite end. The people that invent the SHA-512. You know what I'm saying? It's just going to get better and better and better. And 256 has been proven over time, military-wise and everybody-wise. So It's FUD, guys. I don't know if it was Coinbase. I don't want to put them out there. I believe it because I believe Coinbase and BlockFi to be the weaker servers that I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Like, not only for what I feel with them personally and my experiences with them, you could just tell that something is going weird in the background.
Yeah.
They can't handle load management. They can't do certain things. I don't know if that's a hiring problem. Doubt it. They got plenty of money, plenty of developing power.
Again, when the Bitcoin price swings, every exchange is down.
Then that's a shame on all exchanges because the ones I've used have never went down. And I use the basic ones. I use the Bitcoin native ones, and they're always good. It's only the ones that deal with a bunch of shit coins that have to have these problems. I could be correct.
I'm thinking Binance and Coinbase.
Those are shit coins. I mean, you could get Bitcoin
for everything.
Yeah, right. And I think it's a load management problem at that point. Like, imagine not only trying to handle Bitcoin's price swings, but all the other coins' is price swings.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm Bitcoin only friendly business. You got my attention if you're working natively with Bitcoin. And there's no excuse now because there's River, there's Strike. There's a lot of companies that have come a long way to integrate Lightning and Bitcoin native, Unchained Capital. There's so many companies that already do this really good and don't need to dabble with the other coins.
Yeah.
So if you're like you and I and you hodl Bitcoin, why am I playing around with companies that just do multiple variety of different things? It just doesn't make any sense. I want the specialist.
Right.
I want the people that are doing this and the people that vibe with it because these companies are young people and they come on Twitter and they show us the right.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was Coinbase, back to this FBI FUD, but this was definitely FUD. They cannot break in. They could definitely go to an exchange. So two things happen here. Either the hackers were really dumb. Why would you keep your money on an exchange? You must not know anything about Bitcoin. I also I'm going to butcher it, so I'm not even going to get deep into it. I also make like a loop connection argument with the addresses. That the FBI played not only the hackers in this movie, but they played the FBI in this movie.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so they funded themselves to steal from themselves.
Absolutely.
Which is what you were saying about the oil and the meat.
To then fund the attack to get the outcome that they want.
But the problem is before that would work, we can see everything.
Yeah. Man.
It's the last 2 years have been the year to see them fall on their face.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if it's just a power trip thing now, like, oh, we'll fall on our face and still run shit, or if it's like we're so like the floor is so slippery we can't figure this out. But it's just getting stranger and stranger. And then as you get tools like Bitcoin, it's just the more the onion starts to unpeel. It's like, well, that didn't make any sense. Why would you come out and say that? Yeah. And the Hornets jumped all over that. The maxis were all over that.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, some really good threads went up that I was, gleaming from, retweeting, sending you.
What?
And it's just kind of walking through.
Why would you even try to make this up?
Yeah.
The meteor's
coming. Well, the deal is less and less Americans trust the media, but a lot of them still do. And it still shapes the narrative. If anything, we learned in the last year, right, what mainstream media does to the consensus of most people. I'm gonna try to like dig into that. I think they're not scared of the media anymore. I think they're scared of the environment that the media has created for them, right? So even if they look at the headline and say, well, I don't believe that, or I don't care about that, the life they've constructed because of leading up to that point media scares them away from believing certain things or standing virtuous on certain things. And I think that's more of a problem. People need to reshape their world, right? Like you and I can read a headline and not let it alter our world. We understand that, right? And it takes time because there was at one point where I was in that situation, but I do feel that it's more about you changing the colors of everything around you than it is about what's actually going on. Because if you're just tying into these headlines and all that stuff and this FUD and you're believing in it, you really have this world set how they want you to have it set. And it's like a unconscious decision. Like you could say fuck the newspaper and then turn around and then you just automatically do some shit that kind of makes you shook, right? Or does some crazy stuff, and it's a crazy world. But don't believe the FUD. Yeah, SHA-256 is extremely powerful. Any coder, any hacker, anybody could tell you that that's the way to go. And I think what makes it powerful is the not going back. Right. You can't. Every time the input changes, even by one character or one anything, what comes out on the other end is completely different. It's a different hash. So think about it. You can't just load something into it because you're not going to get the same response every time, and you can't go backwards because you can't put an input in and out. It just doesn't. So even if they were to do that one time, they would have to do it 2 times. Yeah. To move the keys. Yeah, I don't think the tech exists that will crack Bitcoin. No. Nor do I think the FBI, CIA are, that smart.
Yeah. And wouldn't you think anybody, listen, the one thing about software is when there's a hole, dudes are proud to expose the hole.
Yeah, and wouldn't you exploit that immediately? Wouldn't they empty everyone's Bitcoin wallet?
Slowly, because the game theory, if I empty everybody's Bitcoin wallet, what I got is worthless now. Everybody's going to tank and it's going to bounce, right? So you could do it slowly and be smart.
Well, no, they would hold on to it. They wouldn't sell it.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. If you wake up and all your coin is gone and the majority of people's coin is gone, they're going to sell their coin, whoever has it left. And then what do you have? You have a bunch of nothing.
Well, we would have nothing left. But if quote unquote, our Bitcoin was all confiscated by, say, FBI, CIA, military,
they would have nothing.
They would have all of the coins, right?
Yeah.
In their wallet, and they wouldn't be selling. So the price would still, I guess I guess buyers would disappear, right?
No, what I'm saying, I mean, you mean they take everybody's?
Or say they took 50% of all Bitcoin.
Oh, then the other 50% are rich, right? Because it's a sacrifice at that point. Like if they're gonna hodl forever. But no, listen. If the FBI or the U.S. government or any government takes all of the Bitcoin and they confiscate it and they find a way to get it and all that stuff or whatever, the free market just wouldn't transact in Bitcoin, and then they have a pile of nothing.
True.
They got digital coins.
True.
The hell is this? Everybody's gone and moving to the next thing.
Yep.
So
that was my thing. Who's buying and selling at that point?
Yeah.
If the buyers disappear, demand goes down.
But that's what I mean, slowly. Yeah. Now, if they're leaking slowly and stealing in the background and not many people are noticing because the price is not fluctuating crazy and anything like that, then that's a different problem. But I know one thing. If there's anybody out there who can solve like what I call, I don't know if this is the proper name, backwards SHA-256, they would come out and say so. They're not going to play around. Especially with Bitcoin. So I don't think it's crackable. Anybody can prove me wrong. I've seen videos and I've read reports on SHA-256. Not reports, but writings. I didn't get through one sentence did I not get the vibe that this ain't gonna work.
Right.
It was just like, this is not only gonna work, this is like military grade work. Like this is like the surest you can get, the surest you can get of encryption.
Love it.
And we have that in 3 layers. Satoshi was smart enough to put that between all the layers, right? Like this chain, like I said, of private to public to addresses going all way. And this one seed can always only give you one pub, and this one pub can only give you so many addresses. Like that. Now
the addresses you mentioned, are those, what addresses are those?
Those are the ones that I sent to you to pay me.
Okay, cool.
Right. So if I have like a store, I'll probably put up an XPub. And the XPub is, I don't need to give you a brand new address every time. You could just send the money there and it's like a pot.
Gotcha.
Right. That's a security.
It's like an email address.
Yeah, I say that's a security concern, not because they're going to steal your coin, but all anybody needs to see how much coin you got is to read the XPub.
Check
on
those
the
transactions.
And you see what's coming in and what's coming out. Same thing with a multi-sig, by the way. In a multi-sig, it's just one address unless you're doing out. In is always the same address, and anybody who knows your multi-sig address is going to know how much coin is in there. So a lot of people think that's a security thing. Just don't give the XPub up, right? Don't have people, right? But yeah, the XPub, when it goes through the SHA-256, and I believe a few other algorithms, and I know true Bitcoiners will let me know, I think it goes through like a base 54, 56, then a SHA-2. It goes through a bunch of algorithms before it reaches this point. But yeah, the addresses are generated from one XPub, run one way.
Yep.
And you can make sure, that's why sometimes you could give somebody a Bitcoin address. Let's use mining for an example. You give one address, it could take you 2-3 months to get your payout, and that address is still valid to your XPub. It doesn't expire, it doesn't go anywhere. And that's because Bitcoin, the network, knows that all these addresses are responsible to this XPub. This XPub owns it.
Makes sense.
And it'll shoot it right back every time. So, and you can technically even use the same address twice. It's just not recommended. You should generate, your wallet should generate you a new address every time. Unless it's like a multi-sig.
For transfers? Or
what do you mean for transfers?
Like for transactions or whatever. If you're
Like if you're trying to send me, or you're at the Chimney truck and you're gonna he's about to generate a brand new address for you, and he should every time.
Gotcha.
But if you have like an e-commerce store, it might not be a bad idea to have an XPub, right? Because you don't want to generate a new address every time because you're expecting hundreds of shoppers, right? Yep. And on a website, you don't have to show your XPub. You could just say hit this button, and it'll hide in the background. Right?
Yep, makes sense.
Yeah, so that's it's FUD, guys. Back to that. I do want to bring up something that somebody brought up earlier, and I want to get your thoughts. Jack Mallers and the work he's doing deserves a Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah, who was that? Jason Williams?
I don't know.
I saw that tweet. I think I might have.
I was more interested in the comment that came in.
What is about what?
Somebody was like, Satoshi deserves it. Then Jack. Can somebody who's dead get it? What do you mean, meh?
I don't want to. I don't. No. I'm saying I don't want to put rank on anything. You know what I mean?
But if somebody were to get a Nobel Peace Prize for what's happening here,
does Satoshi deserve it? Is Satoshi a singular person? Is it a team of people?
Well, that's what I mean. Can somebody who's gone get it?
Yeah. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Can they? No, I don't know. Like the rules.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Because I think Satoshi should get
it. Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, could they do that with like a Time magazine? You know what I mean? Something like that. Here's your Nobel Peace Prize. Sure. But yeah, no, I saw that and I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. But
as a person, it should be Jack, I guess. But
sure.
I still think, and he would say the same thing. Like,
agreed. No, yeah,
I can't build this without that
without
milestone.
Bitcoin. Right.
Yeah. So yeah, and maybe Satoshi can't get the credit because he's not here. Right?
I think 50 years from now, I think history will look back and kind of tell that story.
Sure.
Of like, this person created this, and then these people came on to, engineer, pioneer, lead the way.
Yeah.
Like the same way when we look back and we look at the Carnegies and we look at, everyone, all the original architecture, foundations of America and the pioneers. Right?
Yeah.
Electricity, Tesla, Edison, like everyone who's had a hand in that, we're going to look back and see this new financial system being built.
Yeah.
And we're just seeing the first dominoes fall, man. So
it won't be in our lifetime, but I can't wait to the day we start using those people as examples.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
A lot of nastiness came from those people.
Yeah.
And a lot of success came from those people. But I can't wait to the day. It won't be in our lifetime. We that's our history. But in our kids' time, where they would just say, like, instead of Edison, they'll say a Jack Mallers, right? Or they'll say, I can't wait. Because this is something completely different and brand new.
Yeah.
And back to Max Kaiser, it's like, this is healthy, man. Like, this isn't corruption. It can't be corrupted in any way. It could, because of game theory. Everybody has to win for this to work. And I can't wait till the history is told by the people that work together and had to, because the currency forces you to, right? It doesn't care. It just does what it does. You either jump on board or you don't. But life is going to be much harder if you don't. It's just one of those things. I want to talk about, it doesn't matter what order we get into. Shout out to the Fly on this episode.
Shout out to the Fly.
Yeah, we don't got a name for the Fly, but she's chilling, enjoying the front row. Before I was going to talk about Lightning, but before we move El Salvador and all that stuff, another really cool thing that's happening there that I have there is I saw this morning a GitHub. I don't know the gentleman's name who put it, for an open source bank.
I saw that.
Saw the thread. Super.
What are banks
freaking
thinking?
Cool.
What are banks thinking, man?
They're dead.
How are they going to stop it?
Well, they were dead anyways, but
They've
now
been
it's
dead
like
for a long time.
So what I got right off the riff is, you open an account with us, we set up a multi-sig, you got a key, we got a key, transactions can't be taken from you. The Bitcoin in the background, and this is where the banks get you, because if I put $1,000 away, they give they front Ben $1,000 if he wants it of my money. Can't do that with the Bitcoin.
They front a lot more because they can lend, they can lend 10x. Yeah. My bad.
Yeah. No.
Technical.
But you're right. That's the big problem.
Yeah,
is that they
play with leverage, man.
Absolutely, and it's crazy. So the bank is 100, and this is open source code, so I could go and see the bank's code.
Mm-hmm.
I could go and see the bank's code, and it's open source. So we have a multi-sig, and the bank can't do anything to the Bitcoin without my permission, because it's a multi-sig. So if they say, hey, Jose, what's up, man? We want to try to send your Bitcoin out so we could try to get 13% back. Are you game? Or you could say, well, yeah, here's my key. I'm game. But if you could be like, nah, I'm not game. I want to keep it there. The bank can't do anything.
Yeah.
This is so powerful, man. I wanted to get to, I don't know much about it. I did look into the GitHub and the thread. It's just another reminder that the world is changing fast.
Yeah,
this is like snowball effect times 1,000.
Could we create a bank?
An open source, we can create a bank.
Like I think of like families who pool their money sometimes.
Yeah.
Right. You could create a family bank.
Yep. A wallet.
Right. Where we stored X amount, or anybody stored X amount in there, and then you could make financial decisions with that.
I'm gonna up you on that. Listen, we could go into a neighborhood.
Yeah.
And literally just do the Talking in Bits banking institution.
Yeah.
Right. And fork their code, their open source bank code, it, change to requirements that we need, and start literally, we could fork the Strike open source code, and we could just go over and build our own app and have a small community just interacting in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And we can do that off the rip with banking, with multi-sig setups, and where we make our revenue from giving them services, showing them how to multi-sig on. So, and I'm speaking theoretical, but that's the power of what an open source bank can do.
The first thing I thought of earlier, I was thinking, bro, if Jose, because in the El Salvador papers,
don't give no IP app.
Yeah. In the El Salvador papers, they were talking about, we're going to provide people, like almost like people who are techie, who can train.
I've seen
so
all
I'm
that.
like, man, Jose would probably kill it out there.
I've seen all that.
In sandals,
Yeah. And if anybody, I've tried to reach out to a few people, haven't locked anything. I'm trying to get somebody who's El Salvadorian to at least come talk about the finances. Maybe not Bitcoin, but the economical system itself. I'm still waiting to hear back. I've seen all that stuff. This is just a new world. It's going to be a lot more open than just the United States for everybody.
Absolutely.
And Bitcoin allows us to be able to traverse with no walls, no everything. As these podcast conversations go on, it's, you guys have to understand that, you can cash out in dollars at any time, but you can also cash out on whatever's valuable down the road. And it could just be Bitcoin itself. And that's why you should hold on to this thing. You don't need to cash out. It's something that, people are going to stop using. And when we talk about free markets, we talk about when everybody says they don't want the dollar, it's worthless.
Right.
That's starting to happen slowly. Give or take, like you said, 5, 10. It depends how you think, but it's going to happen. So just hold on to your Bitcoin. This is not a cash trade, unless you're a day trader. We've talked about that too.
Yeah, for the noobs, if you're new to Bitcoin, new to investing, new to cryptocurrency, whatever, stocks, etc., right? You need to always think about time horizon. And so you can't come into Bitcoin with, I want to get rich this year. I want to get rich this month.
Right.
With Bitcoin, it's like your sailor would say your time horizon is forever, right?
Yeah.
You hodl forever. But just, go into this with an understanding that, like, if you hold Bitcoin, anyone who's held Bitcoin for 4 years has not seen a loss.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So even if you started buying in 2 months ago, right? You started buying in 40s, 50s, whatever. Your portfolio is down 20% right now. You could, quote unquote, cash out, lose some money, pay taxes on it. Or you can hold until next year, 10 years. Like, how long do you think Bitcoin's price will be in this range? And how long before, 1 billion out of 7 billion people all hold Bitcoin?
Yeah. Yeah.
How long does it take to get from, quote unquote, 1 trillion market cap to a 10?
Yeah.
Right? Gold's market cap is 10 trillion. So when Bitcoin is there, it'll technically 10x, right?
Yeah.
So don't sell at a loss. Don't panic sell. A loss isn't realized until you hit the sell button, but don't sell. It's just, I tell people, just dollar cost average, stack every day. And, don't look at the price. Don't over leverage yourself. Don't overextend yourself. And there's nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that. If you're worried about the money, that's all absolutely true. At some point, it's not about it anymore. Yeah. To me, it's like my payout is what it does to me personally in my life. Right. Yeah. Just owning this asset completely changes my life upside down. We just talked about it a little while ago. Mm-hmm. The things that I've believed, the trajectory, the thoughts, you know what I'm saying? The ideas, the formulation of ideas, all this stuff is basically because I own this asset in my possession, right? Yeah. Like my writing lately, my thoughts, everything is around this asset. And to me, that is the payout. I'm not expecting, this sounds very corny, I'm not expecting to pay this out at any point in time.
Yeah, cash it out.
Like you said, Michael Saylor, right? Like whatever. I'm not even thinking about a lifetime. I just know that I'm more worried, like an opposite kryptonite effect. I'm more worried that if I lose this from my life, it will start to revert back to the previous life, if that makes sense, before the orange pill, quote unquote. Right? This thing changes your life as you own it. You become more sovereign. You become more responsible. You become smarter. You become more focused. You work harder because you know work is required, proof of work. You understand these concepts. You understand economics on a different level. You understand game theory on a different level. You understand tech on a different level. You understand human beings at a different level. You understand so many different things. So everything you said is valid when it comes to linking it to money. I'm way past that point. This isn't,
and that's the conversation I'm having with noobs, where it's like they're just thinking about cash and coming up in fiat, and I keep telling people, like,
by the way, I don't want to sound like a Zen Buddhist.
That's where we all kind of start, right?
Right.
But that's why, again, I recommend the Bitcoin Standard or layered money, and I advise education, where it's like people are hitting me up like, yo, I just came up, I sold my crib. How much should I buy? I can buy a whole coin right now. Should I buy a whole coin? And I'll be like, here's a book to read. Education brings conviction.
My recommendation is 3. Those are great recommendations. Those are my early ones. Right now, if you want to learn about the state of the global dollar, read Alex Gladstein. If you want to know how Bitcoin can change your life, read their Gigi. And if you want to learn a mixture of the two, how it can change your life, but the state of things, read Parker Lewis.
Gotcha.
That trifecta right there are not only Bitcoin maxis, but they'll lead you in the right way.
Yeah.
And you'll see that this thing has nothing to do with the dollar.
Yeah.
A lot of people say, and that's the barometer, like the peg. People go, we got to compare it to the dollar to see how much it's worth or whatever. Read those 3 individuals and you can see where this is not about that at all.
Oh, absolutely. A lot of people, the consistent saying of everything will be priced in sats.
Whatever that means.
You know what I mean? Like the dollar will be irrelevant.
Yeah. Look at everything that's just happened because of this asset. Yeah. It's fucking crazy, man.
Yeah.
I'm very bullish, very happy. Let's keep treading along here, though.
Sure.
We talked about the open source bank.
Yep.
I wanted to talk quickly about Lightning. We've talked about Lightning very early on.
Yeah.
Lightning is ready. I don't want to hear nobody say it's not ready.
Yeah.
They want to do it in certain ways, or they want it to look a certain way. Wait for Apple. Wait for all those other companies.
Yep.
Lightning is ready. Lightning is transforming the world. None of this stuff in El Salvador would have been possible just on Bitcoin alone.
Right.
Lightning was required. I've seen Lightning in text chatting apps. Jack talked about Twitter being, his project, Blue Project, is basically a Sphinx chat. It's basically a messaging chat where open sourced, decentralized chat where you have to exchange. Video gaming, I've seen on Lightning. DJs getting paid off Lightning sats, just streaming their set. I've seen so many things on Lightning, and it doesn't skip a beat. It doesn't skip a beat. I pay my bills with Lightning. I pay, and the best incentives are Lightning. I paid my bill the other day and was able to get $18 in sats back because I was willing to use Lightning. And then I sent those from Strike to my Mun wallet as a Lightning transaction, and I paid 6 cents. It's just mind blowing how this.
I got some National Grid bills to pay. I got to get with you on that.
Listen,
the
man.
Moon to the Strike, and it's a big bill, man. So
hopefully
I can get some.
Some nice corn. It's really smart to do. Lightning is there. It's podcasting 2.0. Yep. If you guys have a node, check out this podcast on Podcast Index. We're Lightning powered, but Lightning is ready, and Lightning is alongside Bitcoin. Of course, Lightning is changing the world, and I wanted to highlight that. Shout out to Elizabeth Stark. We both have daughters, and it's hard to find idols and role models, and we shouldn't do that because we should be our kids' role models or whatever. But I appreciate what she's done with Lightning Labs, and I appreciate the team that she's put together there. And I think she's incredible. And that team, that Lightning Labs team, I know there's Sea Lightning and there's a few other things, but Lightning Labs specifically is game changing everything right now. Like how people play Counter-Strike, like online, getting sats right off the rip, like how the podcasting stuff, everything. That team is doing incredible work. And El Salvador was like the medal that they needed to tell the world, like, oh, we work.
We're ready
to rock. And guys, if you're a creator, whether you're selling a book as an author, whether you have a website where Lightning is the way you're going to keep those fees low. And Lightning is the way we keep the mempool free, so we could get some cheap fees. That'd be nice too.
Yeah.
But it's instantaneous settle back to the chimney truck. Yep. Instantaneous. He doesn't have to wait 10 minutes to make sure you paid for your chimney. He gets his settlement right off the bat. That's huge. Shout out to Lightning Labs.
That's how Bitcoin competes with quote unquote money.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Just being able to transact instantaneously. So.
Super incredible stuff. I want to go into Jack Dorsey.
Yeah. That's your boy.
That's my boy. That's my boy. I mean, until otherwise.
I appreciate his Bitcoin. I appreciate what he's done with Cash App. I appreciate what he's done with Bitcoin.
I do appreciate all that stuff, but I appreciate his words, right? I appreciate his action. And he's constantly vouched for us.
Yeah.
He's constantly said over and over. But if you listen to the conversation he was having with Gladstein during Bitcoin 2021, he said it over and over again. Gladstein asked him about other coins. Is Cash App interested? Yeah. And he basically laid out that these other coins ain't doing anything, so they're not of interest. They're not worth anything. They're not worth our time. Right. He also said that if Twitter and Square need to work on Bitcoin, they will. And if he needs to walk away from Twitter and Square to work on Bitcoin, he will.
Yeah.
That's power talk, right? And then, okay, bullshit, whatever. He's trying to get clout, whatever. Homegirl runs up. I don't even want to give her name. I forgot what she was. She's a known troller, I guess, or a known deplatforming.
I think she's a politician.
Yeah, she's been deplatformed. That's
from Twitter.
Yeah, from everywhere. I think a bunch of places, PayPal, everywhere. So she went up on stage. She tried to check him. One of his responses, a bunch of it, how he handled it was incredible. But after they kind of like checked her and got her away, he basically just told the audience, "I'm just gonna let my action do the talking. I'm gonna prove this to you guys."
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. He didn't give some charade of how he's knowledgeable and how Cash App can save No, I'm going to prove this to you guys. Don't worry about it. Half hour before he got on stage, he went on his thread about Square is working on a hardware wallet.
Yeah. I remember seeing that.
Open sourced hardware wallet. Bing, 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 bing. This is what I thought about. This is what I thought about. The power of Square and Cash App and what they've learned from the Square readers.
Yeah.
Making a hardware device. That's open sourced and that is Bitcoin only. I'm more excited about that than any type of Apple device built in. That's going to be huge. But once again, it goes back to a normal guy just saying, trust me, guys, because we don't trust. We verify. Right. So basically saying, oh, don't worry. I get her because she was talking about being the platform. Then he brought up his Blue Sky platform, which is basically a Sphinx chat. It's going to be Twitter open, right?
Yeah.
So he told her, he's like, let's talk about it. Like, you're right. You shouldn't be the platform. He didn't run from that. And when he noticed that the crowd was kind of like, yeah, you are the guy that deplatformed Trump. Or he basically was like, don't worry. I'm just going to let my actions do the talking. Yeah. I'm going to quote, I'm going to prove this to you guys.
Yeah.
That mixed with a few other things, but that and the, hey, I'll leave Twitter and Square to go work on Bitcoin. And if I wasn't working on those two things, I would be working on Bitcoin. That's huge.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jack. I know in the pleb community especially, he's a back and forth. I know people hate that he deplatformed Trump. But he deplatformed Trump is a sentence that I don't think is true.
Yeah.
The company Twitter deplatformed Trump. He happens to own that company.
Sure.
I still kind of get weird when people at Jack and say, hey, like,
Happens all the time.
Open this up. And
hey, free my boy. I think there was a crypto artist who got banned recently.
Is it Yellow? Oh, somebody's getting love.
Yeah.
I'm not too familiar with Yellow, and the plebs probably going to drown me. Hit the comments. Let me know who Yellow is, but I know everybody's trying to get Yellow back.
But yeah, some pleb artist. I don't know if he was a pleb. Some Bitcoin artist got banned or something, and everyone was adding Jack.
But the day after the Mahler's thing, he went down. His account went down. So and people were adding Jack, and I believe it was Jack's mom, Jack Mahler's mom, basically came out and basically said Jack is helping us with this. So he does have that leverage. Yeah. But y'all can't think that a guy like him is going to be like, oh, let me reach out to my people because such and such said I need. He's letting that company run. That's his job. His job is to keep it profitable and run. Yeah. And he's doing his best job to come away from the company and tell y'all, like, I'm kind of like your stealth ninja. Like, I'm on your side, on the regular side of things. Like, you know, and what we've seen with Cash App grow. I'm going to add Jay-Z into this mix because Jay-Z, and they tied together earlier this year, right? Or they tied together. But Jay-Z made it a thing where he's like, look, if this is going to be, this is, I think, a Jay-Z quote, if this is going to be the world's money, the world needs to work on it. Yeah. And that's why Cash App and Jack and Jay are funding, you know, Africa developers and stuff like that. Yep. So these are individuals that know what's about to come. They're in tune. There are future leaders. And does Jack Dorsey need to get slayed because Trump got banned? That's up to you, the listener. Sure. That's a very dumb reason, especially when we're talking about Bitcoin.
Yeah, no, I appreciate what he's done for Bitcoin. Yeah.
Listen, I appreciate what he's done for businesses. Square has been a game changer since they've been introduced.
I agree.
Cool. Go ahead.
Yeah. No. You know, there was a whole lot of politics last year. It was more than Trump. So, like, I disagree on that. I love what he's doing for Bitcoin. I love hardware wallet. I love Cash App. Like, I love all that stuff. So, it just makes me more bullish. And again, they're in tune with, you know, the younger crowd.
Sure. Yeah. So you blame Jack for all the deplatforming?
No, you got
the people that was blocked.
No, there was a ton of people.
Yeah,
there was a ton of people. Sure. So that is what it is. But I love what he's doing in the Bitcoin space.
Yeah, so. I love what he's doing in the finance space, period. I think Cash App is my favorite app for a reason. I say favorite loose, but I have a lot of favorite apps, by the way. But Cash App is one of my favorite apps because of their vision. Before even Bitcoin was introduced, they opened up the ability for small businesses to be able to negotiate at a bigger scale, whether it's by swiping and taking credit cards or using the app to take pictures or just sending cash tags. They came to a Bitcoin space where there was other early competition and completely crushed it. I mean, see you later, PayPal. What the fuck are y'all doing? So I'm not the track record. It's about action to me. It's not about people getting the platform because once again, I find it funny that nobody cares that I got the platform, and it's happened to me a ton of times. But people care about complete strangers getting the platform that mean nothing. So you know, I want to blame him on that, but to me is I like his vision as a leader. I don't like the deplatforming.
I'm with you.
But he's openly, by working on Blue Sky, saying the deplatforming thing I can't help. If you guys want me to run this company, I can't let anybody do whatever they want. But
I'm working on this.
Right? Who else is doing that?
Yeah.
And out of all these deplatform people, who's doing anything to solve the problem?
Yeah. No, I agree.
I'm waiting for one.
I agree.
Nobody, they just yapping.
Yeah.
That's noise to me.
Yeah.
Go do something about it.
Yeah.
You're the platform, go do something about it.
Right.
None of them are doing anything. But I'm supposed to care every time they want to run up on a scheduled conference and say something about being the platform. I don't know anything about this lady's play. I'm speaking about everybody that's the platform in general.
Sure.
I've been the platform. What I asked myself when that happened, what am I going to do about it? That's the bottom line. So y'all could be mad at an individual, figure, an entity. The labels get thrown around. That's a leftist company. That's a rightist this and that. What are y'all going to do about it?
Yeah.
Because Bitcoiners seem to just get to building stuff.
Yeah.
So I once again, my action. Yeah, you've been the platform. Let's talk about it. I got something I'm working on to stop that from happening. Yeah. That's action.
No, I agree.
Everybody else is just noise. Yeah. Right? So let's see. But as we know in Bitcoin, don't trust the powerful. They can flip it at any point in time. And I put Jack under that same magnifying scope that I put a sailor in. So I'm not being hypocritical. But besides talk and advocating, well, let me not say that because he's just buying the dip left and right. So he's taking it. The guys that we respect the most are the guys that are taking action.
Yeah.
I don't really care so much about Sailor's action, but it's needed because you need people to fund it. You need people to do these big ass dollar cost averages, and it's helping us, get better. And the advocation. People trust him.
Yeah.
Big businesses trust him, so they'll take his word over ours any day. So that's needed. But I get more excited with the guys that are making the ecosystem better, right? Like the core developers, of course. So action. If Jack doesn't do any of this stuff, or if you get this Square hardware wallet and it says something about, well, sign up to this, or is it action, we're going to call him out. I think so. I think
absolutely. Yeah, we'll definitely cover it when it comes out.
But I wanted to bring it up because, once again, I see Jack Dorsey hate. I get it. People get tied to political figures. People get tied to people that they think are correct. People get tied to a lot of things. I do too. And we don't want to see those people go. But if we realize that those people most of the time are noise because they have built their character around grabbing attention. So they're only getting the platform most of the time, not every situation, because they're just being loud.
Yeah.
And if they get the platform, that really sucks, but they can build a company.
Yeah.
A lot of these people that got the platform are rich as fuck.
Yeah.
Go build a company.
We saw stuff get built, and then it was hosted on Amazon servers.
You can build servers.
I know, and so you have to then build out every piece, and it's just
that's cool. And I know that sounds like a very passive answer for me to say, go build a server. Yeah. But my thing is if you're really fed up about it,
take action.
You take that first domino, and that's starting to build a server.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you're going to beat Amazon servers.
Right.
I'm just saying, hey, y'all, you follow my ideology. You don't like that I got platform. I got something for you.
Yeah,
like Jack said,
build your own system.
You know what I'm saying? And that's free market thinking, right?
Yeah,
so
I agree, man.
I don't know about the people that cancel. I hate the word cancel, but like discredit Jack because they think he this a while because he's he muffles freedom of speech and stuff like that. I'm like, I think owning a business, and you can vouch to this, is extremely difficult.
Yeah.
And you're not going to be able to please anybody.
Right.
So profits have to stay up. People have to get paid. Jobs have to get paid.
Right.
That's a very passive answer for me to say that sometimes we just don't know what we're angry at. You just get angry at people and try to like cancel them and not really know the nuance of things. But when you can come and show action, I think that calms people down. And
Absolutely.
It's an understanding.
Yeah.
So shout out to Jack. Until otherwise, thanks for what you're doing in Bitcoin. I'm curious to see a hardware wallet from a company that has years of information on hardware and years of information how businesses use hardware.
Right.
So I think this is just the next step for U.S. businesses and businesses around the world, but specifically U.S. businesses, smaller businesses, to be able to transact in Bitcoin. I don't see, let's just use the Chimney truck again.
Yeah.
I don't use the Chimney truck. I don't see the Chimney truck using a cold card.
No.
I don't see the Chimney truck using any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So if Square can get this perfect blend of, hey, we got this hardware wallet that's fast on the fly, has Lightning built in, and you could do the transactions and then do all your cold storage stuff because it's connected to Square somehow. I think that'll be good for the average person that's selling stuff, and they'll be able to transact in Bitcoin. And I think a lot of the companies are solving global problems, but a lot of them are not focused on like the small business in the U.S. problem, unless you're like us and we are savvy in this stuff.
Yeah.
But I think Square could cross that gap between you could use this every day, and still have a business and use it for business. And I'm interested. I thought about this. Like, what about a hardware? I don't know how security this would work. Maybe it won't work good. But what about a hardware wallet that has a swiper built in?
That's you're talking all this. That was on my mind. I didn't want to bring it up.
Yeah,
that's on my mind.
Using similar to what Jack is doing, if I swipe my debit card at the Chimney truck with the hardware device, it turns it to Bitcoin on the fly and puts it into my wallet. That can happen.
Yeah.
And they could just put the security of the cold storage on a different chip, so it lives on a different chip, and you could do all the the swiping, connecting.
It's like layer 3.
Yeah, right. I don't know what layer it would be, but the device can do that if they just, they just playground is what they call it, the chipset, to do security only. And then when the debit card is active, when the slider is active, only make sure that this chipset is active, which is the public, the connector, right? The IP stuff, right?
Sure, it's coming, man.
And why would I kill Jack Dorsey for not doing something like that to the world, right?
Yeah,
like I got to give him that. And Cash App continues to impress. And back to what you were saying earlier with all the shitcoins and all that stuff and those, Cash App hasn't failed me.
Yeah.
I've gotten a few like long loads, but that's not a fail. It still goes through.
Yeah.
And I've gotten one where it was like, hey, we'll deposit it in like 5 minutes.
One thing I don't like right now is the $2,000 a day limit.
Yeah, I got to check that. I didn't look into mine.
It's pretty annoying for me.
I think I've done more than 2. That's why. Maybe it's new?
Yeah, I think it's a new feature.
Yeah, so. I don't know. Well, Cash App has always wanted to fix that. I think we're talking about their cold storage, but I think they're going to do big things with Cash App and Lightning too.
Absolutely.
So it's one of these things where it's like,
matter of time.
I don't see Dorsey as being a dude who is just talking to talk. I think he's going to improve this community.
Yeah.
And he shouldn't be, whatever feelings for that. But anyways, I appreciated that. Watch it. If you guys haven't watched it, go to YouTube, check out the conference. Girl came up, tried to check him. He addressed it politely. He didn't even skip a beat. He basically said, you're correct. I've built something to address that. We can talk about it. The guys in the show were basically saying we can't talk about it because this is a time thing.
Yeah.
And then he brought it up really quickly. And then at the very end, he basically just told everybody in the room, I'm going to prove it to you guys.
Yeah.
Like, this is something I want to do. Shout out to Jack. Right. And we'll see how it goes from there. Taproot, I'm not going to go on it. I think it's 3 days away. And the reason I say 3 is because I saw a post that said 2.5 and I saw a post that said 4. And I couldn't tell which was earlier and which was not.
Yeah.
So since I didn't do my homework and go and actually check how many blocks away, I'm going to go with 3 days. In about 3 days, all the mining pools, or the majority of them, more than 93%, have signaled for Taproot. We should get Taproot later this year. Less fees, more security, better Bitcoin. Everybody's a go.
Yeah,
we're good.
It's a win.
It's a good to bring up. Taproot to go. It's hard to say congrats, but everybody should be happy about this. This is a win for the Bitcoin community. Is a win for the system.
More privacy. More
privacy is always huge, especially with supposedly the FBI being able to break your wallet. You're gonna need that extra security. And if we want to talk about that too, SHA-2 bouncing, this is gonna make sure that they can't even see what the transaction was going to. So never mind even trying to do the SHA-256. You don't even know what type of transaction this is.
Yeah.
So Taproot was big, been activated. To end the show, I'm going to let you go, and then I'll go after you. Why are we as bullish as ever right now?
Because
I'm bullish as ever.
We went through the book, The Sovereign Individual, and it talks about nation states reducing personal and corporate taxes for people and giving people incentives. We just watched El Salvador make Bitcoin legal tender and say this is not going to be taxed there, and I don't think they have property taxes there either. Nope. Right, so this puts the pressure on the U.S. to adopt to a Bitcoin standard. Other countries in South America are, tweeting, hinting at the same thing, and it's going to take over the continent. Yeah. And so this is the first domino in the world to adopt a Bitcoin standard, and everybody will. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah, that's why you're bullish as ever.
You know what I mean? We're seeing it play out in real time. So, yeah, man. I didn't have this in the cards for this year, man.
No, I don't think anybody did. And if they did, they're either futuristic or they were lying to themselves if they did. People played around with this, but they didn't think it was going to happen this fast.
They just rolled out Strike in El Salvador like 3 months ago. I
think it was a little while. You just started getting wind of it. Because I still remember back in November listening to a Bitcoin Beach episode where it was hey, we're doing Strike down here and stuff like that. Or Lightning.
I think they officially launched the app on the store within 2 months ago.
Oh, okay.
I think that's what it was. And I was following the numbers and the downloads and this, that. And I was like, man, that stuff's taking over.
It's really cool.
And then all of a sudden the president's like, boom.
And now your bank will just be an app.
Yeah.
Nobody running the bank. That's incredible. I'm bullish for the similar things that you said, but to me, it's just game theory.
Yeah,
it's the fact that Bitcoin has built so much momentum that it can't fail now.
Yeah,
there's no way for it to fail because everybody who's already included is already incentivized to stay and to build and to make better. And I'm bullish as fuck as ever because the builders continue to build. And if there's anything that's been constant since the beginning of Bitcoin is builders build and they continue to solve these problems and make our life easier. And with these guys, diligently giving up their time, their free time, their mental palace, their education, their life pretty much to dedicate to this, we're able to see good stories like what's happening in El Salvador, and we're able to see a world where the petrodollar doesn't reign supreme. I'm bullish as fuck as ever because I definitely, for those reasons, but I definitely see, I see how early this is, and I'm so inspired by every day turning on my phone and just seeing some brand new innovation, brand new tool, brand new helpful resource, brand new story. A lot of plebs have incredible stories. And like I said a little while earlier, this is just a life-changing antidote. Opposite to kryptonite is this orb, this glow that once it's in your possession, your life immediately becomes better. Understand this. It's always a lot more than the shiny things. It's always a lot more than, buying things. It's all about how happy you are in this life.
Yeah,
Bitcoin has this aura, this Max Kaiser feel of sucking poison out, where the things that used to frustrate you in life no more now have hope.
Yeah,
now have a direction, and Bitcoin usually helps you solve them.
Yeah.
Fix the money, fix the world.
Yeah,
all these things are true. And to me, if I get anything out of anybody, that's why I can't have a normal conversation on why should people get into Bitcoin. Yeah. I think people should just change their lives.
Yeah,
and I think my thing is that you should orange pill yourself so you can change your life. If you get money, fantastic. If you get wealth, you probably are. Like you said, everybody who's held for more than 4 years is wealthy. But wealth is not always determined on dollars, of course.
Right.
But it's not on what you can buy. It's how you can live and what you can leave behind. If that includes money, do it.
Yeah.
But this is different. This is rare. This has never happened before. Ride the wave. Bitcoin is love. Bitcoin is hope. That's all I got for the people. But it's an incredible time. Stuff that I thought I would never see in my life.
Yeah.
Never see in my life. And I've heard people say it, and thought processes that I thought I would never have in my life.
Yeah.
All because of this. That's what the Satoshi Nobel Peace Prize, man.
Yeah. It'll be there. It'll come 20 years from now.
I just don't know if you can give it to a entity, right? Like somebody who doesn't, who claims this thing, or whose family claims this, right? But yeah, there's been a lot of innovation in the past. In computer science, of course, what Alan Turing did to change the war. A lot of different steps along the way. But damn, this Bitcoin thing.
It's moving quickly.
Every time I think it's some bull, it's just not.
Yeah.
It's just not. It's damn near perfect. It's damn near perfect, and I don't. There's not enough episode time to even talk about it. But these episodes are gonna get better, man.
Yeah,
they can only get better because we're getting better.
Yes, sir.
The information is getting better. If you guys 24 episodes in do not have any Bitcoin, you need to reach out to one of us ASAP. Yeah. You might be on life support right now. Yeah. And you need to get a little bit of sats. You need to trade in that, McDonald's, whatever you get.
Even trade in your credit card reward points.
Whatever it takes.
$500 there. Don't get the flight. Just buy Bitcoin with it.
Whatever
get the flight
it takes.
With USD.
Skip the extra stuff in the grocery store and buy some sats. Or reward systems.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said. Yeah, right. Like just do normal stuff and get sats. Like I think we said that a few episodes ago. It's like you have no excuse nowadays.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to get exposure.
Unless you don't like it. Yeah. Like some people are just sour-mouthed about it. Like I don't want that.
Yeah.
But anyways, this is episode 24.
Wrap, bro. 24.
Yeah, we could have stuffed this with way more guys. There's a lot of stuff going on. Reach out to us for more information. Follow us on Twitter. That's where we reshare. That's where you can see these topics if you're not already following these great people in the space. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on your favorite podcast platform. If you're a node operator or you have Lightning, feel free to fund those wallets and stream some sats over to us. We're literally in every place that you guys are willing to get this information and willing to reach. Subscribe to us, comment, let us know who you want on the show. Tag them, tag us. We might be able to make it happen so we can continue to have these conversations for you guys. We appreciate you guys as always, Ben. I appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Likewise.
All right, man. We're going to see you guys next week. Later.